As Donald Trump continues to escalate this catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran, and as more American soldiers are dying and being seriously injured, top military officials are giving massive red flags and warning signs through leaks to major media outlets in the United States. And these top officials who are still speaking on background, meaning they're not giving their names, but they're giving quotes and data and information, are saying the United States simply lacks the military equipment to fight this war, that the United States has run low on munitions, on Patriot and THAAD interceptors, that the United States does not have ground troops capable of invading Qeshm Island or on the coast of Iran, and that any escalation is going to be completely devastating. And these top military officials are also leaking that Iran is clobbering these American military bases, and the U.S. is getting hit hard. And I think one of the things these top military officials are deeply worried about, the risk that their troops are in right now, who are positioned in these various bases in the Middle East, and also this military equipment of the United States, whether it's the Strata tankers, the C-17s, the MQ-9 Reaper drones, the Apaches, the other helicopters that are out there, the early detection warning systems. Iran is striking with a unbelievable precision these targets in the Middle East. And one of the notable things is that what we're learning from these, anonymous sources, but they're top officials, and also by looking at just the open source intelligence data that's out there, the U.S. is moving some of its most valuable assets out of the Arab nations and moving them in Ben Gurion Airport in Israel and in other facilities in Israel, because Israel is protected by the Iron Dome. The Arab nations, whether it's Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, etc., they believed that they were getting the security umbrella from the United States. Heck, they were doing the quid pro quos with Donald Trump, and they thought, hey, aren't you going to then help us out? No. And they're watching as Israel has the protection, but Iran is able to pick off these bases that are right there and target not just the bases, but as the United States strikes desalination facilities in Iran, power plants in Iran, as the United States kills like the equivalent of like Coast Guard and civilian police in Iran, and just civilians in general in Iran. Iran has been hitting desalination facilities in Kuwait, power plants in Kuwait, the Babco petroleum facility in Bahrain, oil facilities in Iraq, major infrastructure in these Arab nations, and they're getting crushed. And then what Iran is doing is they're putting out these messages through the IRGC to unite the Muslim communities and saying, look, we're doing this because your leadership, the princes and the kings, have thrown you, the Muslim community, under the bus in favor of Trump and in favor of the United States. And look what you're left with. And Iran is then publishing these messages. Thank you to the people of Jordan for giving us the coordinates of where to strike. Kuwait, did you see how the people of Jordan helped us strike the bases? We welcome your support. We want you to join. And this is the strategy that Iran is pushing. And we're also seeing that these high-level military sources who are leaking information, to the press here, and also leaking information to the MeidasTouch network, they're aware that Iran is pursuing a very sophisticated 5-dimensional chess strategy, while Donald Trump is playing Dumbo MAGA checkers right now, and Iran uniting the Arab world, while Donald Trump is causing, these nations to get hit very hard. And, you're seeing Donald Trump fall deeper into the escalatory trap, sending, more equipment there to the Middle East. And it's like the early detection's gone. The Patriot interceptors are not effective against what Iran's doing. Iran's sending salvos of, 8 to 12 ballistics. That's it. And a lot of them are hitting the targets, right? And this, as we're learning, more U.S. casualties, dozens of service members injured. Take a look at this story, Washington Post. U.S. teeters on return to all-out war with Iran after more troops killed. The military announced Sunday that a service member was killed in action. The third in the past, since Friday, that they're willing to actually announce. They found the remains. They found the body parts in Jordan. And then a fourth killed in Iraq, which they say was caused by a controlled detonation. I'll get to that in a moment, though. New reporting from Washington Post paints a sobering picture of the growing costs of the Iran war for the United States, as American officials, these are top military officials, leaking to the Post that the U.S. military is absorbing heavy damage while facing mounting constraints if the fighting escalates further. These top officials are saying that key military installations in Jordan have been struck repeatedly. Black Hawk helicopters have been damaged. Hardened barracks have been destroyed by Iranian ballistic missiles, and U.S. munitions and air defense stockpiles are being depleted. One U.S. official, when anonymous, told the Post that the Pentagon is now planning for the possibility of a wider war, but warned the military is running short on air defense systems, long-range munitions, troops, and aircraft needed to sustain a major expansion of the conflict. Another top official said, "We're getting beat up across the board." Military experts cited in the report also cautioned that the U.S. is not prepared for a potential ground conflict with Iran, even as Trump has declined to rule one out. How about this message? "We do not have enough to safely sustain operations, and I don't think the White House is aware of that." I think the White House is aware of that. I think this is a message to the public. You may be saying, well, why would Donald Trump do this if he knows that we're getting crushed? Because he is psychotic. He is a malignant narcissist. This is the guy who's saying that vandals destroyed the reflecting pool. This is the guy who put up tarp to cover where it says the Kennedy Center after his name was removed. This is the guy who held the... Stop acting like we're dealing with a normal freaking person. Stop viewing this through a normal lens of this is a leader's... We're dealing with literally a psychotic, deranged, not normal person who has bankrupted almost every company he's touched. And people said, don't build those 3 casinos next to each other and incur so much debt. They're going to go bankrupt. You know what Donald Trump says? I'm going to do the biggest. I'm going to do Michael Jackson, and it's going to be so great, and everything's going to be fake gold and fake gold. Bankrupt, 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 bankrupt. His whole life is making the dumbest decisions, bankrupting it, and then he blames people for it. By the way, WTF America. That's one of the things we talk about in this book. WTF. Stop normalizing this damn behavior. Pre-order it. Scan the QR code. Now, as Babik Tagvi explains over here, Trump and his administration are lacking enough intelligence to understand they are acting exactly the way the IRGC generals like Akhmin Vahidi and Mohammed Bagar Zolgadar and others dream of them behaving. Like Trump is setting the trap for himself and walking right into the escalatory trap, causing the price of oil to surge. Crude up now over $90 a barrel. That's going to hit $100 a barrel soon. You may have thought, Ben, you've been saying that and you sounded so hyperbolic a week ago when you said it's about to hit $90. Nope, I was being accurate. I was being accurate regarding the fatalities when no one else was reporting on them and the dozens of troops that were seriously injured when nobody was reporting on them as well. As Trita Parsi explains, to say the U.S. underestimated Iran's missile capabilities, it's only half true. Yes, there was an underestimation, but there's also a deliberate effort to downplay Iran's capabilities and silence and deplatform those who early on pointed to their efficiency after the first round of attacks between Israel and Iran. And the reason was clear: to get Trump to agree to a larger war. A media narrative of Iranian weakness, Iran's a paper tiger, it's on the brink of collapse, etc., had to be manufactured. In that context, any acknowledgement of Iran's actual capabilities, which were demonstrated already in April and October 2024, was non-permissible.
After checking how much I spent eating out last month, I was honestly shocked. Switching to Home Chef has been a game changer. Home Chef has even worked with renowned chefs like Gordon Ramsay to bring restaurant quality recipes straight to your kitchen. So not only am I saving money, but I'm also cooking meals that feel like I have a personal chef at home. Home Chef makes cooking simple, fresh food delivered, easy recipes to follow, and meals that actually taste great. Take the stress out of your week with convenient weekly deliveries that keep your fridge stocked and eliminate meal planning and grocery runs. No long shopping lists, no complicated prep, and best of all, easy cleanup. It's perfect for busy schedules. Whether you need a 30-minute meal, an oven-ready tray, or even a quick microwave lunch, Home Chef has you covered. And it's not one size fits all. Home Chef has over 30 meal options each week with choices for different tastes and dietary needs, including calorie-conscious and even GLP-1 friendly meals. Home Chef's GLP-1 friendly meals also make it easy with pre-portioned ingredients and dietitian-approved nutritional guidelines. They're packed with protein and rich in fiber to help promote fullness, appetite regulation, and blood sugar stability without compromising the variety and flavor. And people really love it. Home Chef is rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. I love their beef asparagus risotto. It's delicious. You have to try it today. Customers say they spend less time planning, shopping, and prepping meals. Plus, it's affordable. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/Meidas. That's homechef.com/Meidas for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/Meidas. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
And take a look over here. New York Times account of the 4 Iranian attacks on the U.S. forces in Jordan in the past week. U.S. officials offered a recounting of the last 5 days of Iran's attacks on Jordan, which the Pentagon has not yet discussed in detail publicly. The first attack to hit U.S. forces in Jordan struck a residential facility at King Faisal Air Base, wounding as many as 5 U.S. service members, they said. The second hit a base in eastern Jordan, where U.S. Black Hawk helicopters were operating from, damaging a significant number of them. Then, 48 hours ago, Iranian missiles, this was now 72 hours ago, hit Jordan's Muwafiq Salti Air Base in Azraq, which is the same base where the troops were killed on Friday, the official said. The earlier strike wounded about 20 U.S. troops rushing to take cover in bunkers. No one was killed in the barrage, so they say. But on Friday, when the Iranians struck the base again, 2 U.S. troops were killed and 4 other service members were injured. According to U.S. officials, other personnel were evaluated for minor injuries and returned to duty, or so they say right there. Now, one of the other things that's leaking out as well is that part of Donald Trump's plan this week to distract and pay attention. What I try to do in these videos is prepare us for the next few weeks, so when it happens, we know the setup. We know the manipulation. We need to stay ahead of what these fascists are doing. So that's why I read international sources as well. And you take a look at what's going on right now and what Japan is saying that intelligence officials are leaking to them. If you look today in the Nihon Kazi Shimbun, the Nikkei, senior foreign affairs commentator Hiroki Akita is saying that his sources, likely U.S. sources connected to bases in Japan, are saying that Donald Trump is going to try to pursue a bilateral deal with Pyongyang, Kim Jong-un, in order to show, look, I am stopping nuclear proliferation in North Korea. Kim Jong-un has never said he's going to stop the nuclear capabilities that they now have in Iran, that Donald Trump allowed him. But what Trump and Kim Jong-un are apparently planning is to do one of those fake deals that are going to claim they've capped North Korea's ballistic missile capabilities to try to give Donald Trump a win and say, okay, we'll cap him to some short and medium range missiles. And this way, we, the United States, will recognize Kim Jong-un. You can have these medium and short range missiles, but that you're not going to do long range, and Trump will try to take a victory lap. But that's going to expose Japan and South Korea to nuclear blackmail. And Trump wants to do this to try to deliver a win on nuclear issues because he's failing so miserably in Iran. And now we have that being leaked as well to Japanese analysts who are then reporting it on their paper. And it's one of the things that we are studying here as well. Also, these military officials also told the New York Times that the soldier killed in Iraq, right? 3 they're claiming killed in Jordan, although I think there may be more deaths in the region. 1 in Iraq, while an Iranian one-way attack drone was being rendered safe, was apparently not an explosive ordnance disposal technician. It was a soldier who was struck by blast fragmentation and debris when the drone was detonated. Now let's talk about this leak and why there would be a leak like this, right? Because the generals are saying, look how incompetent they are. They don't even know how to handle and defuse the Shahid drone. And so it wasn't even the drone technician or the person who was responsible for doing the controlled detonation. They controlled detonation, and a soldier who wasn't even dealing with the controlled detonation got killed because a fragment hit him. That's what you take the totality of all of this, and that's what's going on. I'd like to leave you with the following, if I may, because I think, and I really want you to watch these 2 clips right here, because to me, they're very revealing of everything. It's Foreign Minister Aragchi, and Foreign Minister Aragchi is talking about the failed negotiations with the United States and everything. I'll just play one clip here. I'll do another clip later. He talks about his discussions with Witkoff, Steve Witkoff, the real estate slumlord guy, in my opinion, who Donald Trump uses as our top negotiating envoy. Aragchi is a world-class negotiator, wrote the book on negotiations, foreign minister, actually known as a brilliant person. Witkoff is like a scumbag slumlord, in my opinion, who would brag about going into collect rent in Harlem with a gun in the 1980s. That's why Trump liked this guy, right? And so what Aragchi said, I'm looking at Witkoff. I'm looking across from him and we're negotiating. I said, hey, Witkoff, you think I'm scared of you? Have you ever had to be on the phone trying to negotiate something and believe at any moment you could be blown up and killed? Do you ever have to deal with that? You think that we're like Venezuela, we're just going to roll over?
Yeah, this isn't Venezuela where you take out one person and the rest get scared and back down.
I told you. We translated that obviously into English, but deliberate. And I'll just show you one other clip because I want you to get an understanding of how they think at the civilian leadership level in Iran about the failure of negotiations. Here, play this clip.
And because they saw the people didn't turn against us, but instead supported the system and stood by it, they were forced to halt the war.
Well, there you have it. We have to study what's really happening. That's what we do here at the MeidasTouch Network. It's not about, cut out the propaganda, cut out the bullshit. Let's focus on what's really happening. By the way, WTF America, that's why I call it. Check it out. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Pre-order WTF America. I think there's a QR code up there. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.